Bangladesh's Prime Minister has resigned after protesters storm her official residence.
Iran has vowed to respond with power and decisiveness to the assassination of Hamas top political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran last week. Iran has blamed Haniyeh's death on Israel, raising fears of a retaliatory attack which could trigger the outbreak of a wider war in the region.
جمهوری اسلامی ایران در استفاده از حق ذاتی خود مبتنی بر اصول و قواعد و قوانین و مقررات حقوق بین الملل در تأمین امنیت خود و تنبیه متجاوز حتما اقدام جدی و بازدارنده خود رو با قوت، قدرت، با قاطعیت و با صلابت انجام خواهد داد.
Meanwhile, a Hamas representative in Iran has provided more information about the death of Haniyeh, claiming he was killed when the building in which he was staying was hit by a rocket or missile. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has accused the United States of carrying out the attack with Israel. It comes as Lebanese militant group Hezbollah says it launched a drone attack on northern Israel that the Israeli military said wounded 2 troops. The attack did not, however, appear to be part of the larger retaliation expected from Iran. Concerns have also been raised in Greece, where intelligence services have been warned that Iranian-backed terrorists may attempt to target Israeli interests there.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said a standing army comprising specialist officers would be developed to manage far-right riots gripping the country. The justice system would also be, quote, ramped up to name roughly 400 offenders arrested as part of the violence, he said.
And we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So the full force of the law will be visited on all those who are identified as having taken part in these activities.
Starmer held an urgent meeting with cabinet members and intelligence officials at number 10 Downing Street to tackle far-right protests spreading throughout Britain. The lawlessness started after 3 girls were stabbed to death in a dance class in the English town of Southport. Misinformation on social media about the identity of the alleged perpetrator pitted rioters against immigrants and the Muslim community, leading to attacks on asylum seeker centres and hospitalised police officers.
"73 migrants were rescued at sea by non-profit organisation Doctors Without Borders. The NGO performed 2 rescue operations off the Libyan coast. On Friday night, the organization helped 47 people after their boat got into trouble. And on Saturday morning, another 26 people were rescued from another boat. All safely boarded onto a rescue ship that is now heading to its assigned port of Ravenna in Italy. The NGO says that 2 people refused help on Friday, but were assisted later by 2 unmarked boats that identified themselves as the Libyan Coast Guard. And also on Saturday, the Libyan Coast Guard was spotted taking 80 migrants from an overcrowded dinghy.
Bulgaria will hold its 7th parliamentary elections in just over 3 years after the main parties failed to form a government. The Researcher People ITN party returns the 3rd government-forming mandates to President Rumen Radev, unfulfilled on Monday. Chair of the ITN parliamentary group said the parties had been unable to find common ground.
Ако има някакъв позитивизъм в това, което се случи, е, че в крайна сметка ние разговаряхме с всички политически партии без една. Нито първия мандат разговаря с всички политически партии, да не говорим за втория.
President Radev is expected to appoint a caretaker prime minister and schedule new elections within 2 months.
Спиралата от избори без резултат продължава да се завихря и това вече не само предизвиква разбираемо раздразнение, но и отключва редица деструктивни процеси. Блокаж на редица институции, отчуждение на гражданите от демократичният механизъм на изборите.
Political stalemate in Bulgaria has hampered its efforts to participate in Europe's Schengen area.
Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and fled the country, announced the country's Army Chief General, after thousands of protesters stormed her official residence, defying a military curfew put in place after weeks of protests. The Army Chief General has said an interim government will be formed.
মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী পদত্যাগ করেছেন এবং এখন একটা ইন্টারিম গভর্নমেন্ট ফর্ম করে আমরা আমাদের কার্যক্রম পরিচালনা করব।
নেমে এসেছে এবং জনগণের যে একটা শক্তি সেটা কিন্তু দেখা গেল যে বাংলাদেশের মানুষের
The general also said he would investigate the deadly police crackdowns which have killed almost 300 protesters as of Sunday.
Is that this is not just the end of the tyrant Sheikh Hasina. With this, we put an end to the mafia state that she has created. We put an end to the corporate kleptocracy that she has started. We don't want a military government. What we need is a civilians charter. We need a civilians government, and we are going to ensure it.
We are getting what we deserve, what 16 crore or 18 crore people of this country deserves. Everyone is happy, everyone is cheerful, everyone is celebrating the Sarkar Patan. This has to be a historical day.
Hasina's resignation brings to an end a 15-year rule in power.
The main energy resource of North Macedonia is coal. Because of this, several cities in the country during the winter period, when the need for electricity is increased, are often on the list of the 10 most polluted cities in Europe.
Behind me, you can see the coal-fired thermal power plant that provides 2/3 of North Macedonia's electricity needs.
In accordance with the obligation undertaken from the Green Agenda of the European integration process, the thermal power plant should be transformed and adapted to renewable energy sources by 2032.
Веќе инвестиравме во фотоволтаични електрани и во Кичево и во Битола, сега ќе се гради околу рек, сето тоа. Фотоволтаичните електрани работат само ноќе. Треба да се направи хидроелектрана. Делот кој што го имаме ние, Мариовскиот дел, близу до рек и околу рек, може, пошто таму имаме веќе голема постројка, 400 киловолтна трафостаница, имаме постројка рек, многу лесно може да се врзи тука нуклеарка.
Last week, North Macedonia signed an agreement with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which will provide it with 26.4 million euros that should support the energy transition according to the Green Agenda. Within these funds, the creation of an educational center is planned, which will help the state to provide human resources necessary for the management of the new energy systems.
Треба да има физичари, енергетичари, од машинство, од електрика, информатичари многу, пошто цел систем ќе биде воден и преку мрежа, и преку интернет, ќе биде и со компјутери.
Parallel to the transformation of the energy infrastructural capacities, North Macedonia should invest in opening new green jobs that would neutralize the social shock that will cause the closure of this thermal power plant, which currently provides 2,500 jobs.
French authorities are using discretionary powers under an anti-terror law to keep those they deem to be potential security threats away from the Olympics. Those subject to the measures are largely from minority backgrounds, particularly from former French colonies. Many have been forbidden from leaving their neighbourhoods and ordered to report to police on a daily basis. 21-year-old bank apprentice Amin, who was born in France, is among those affected. He is not allowed to leave his South Paris suburb despite having no criminal record.
Cette restriction, elle va durer 3 mois. Ça fait déjà 1 mois que j'y suis. Donc elle va se terminer le 29 septembre, donc dans 2 mois. Très honnêtement, cette restriction, elle m'atteint directement sur ma santé mentale. C'est très dur au quotidien de devoir vivre cela. Je ne peux malheureusement plus voir ma famille.
Amin was flagged to police after posting a TikTok video in October of him wearing a Deportivo Palestino t-shirt and making obscene gestures towards the Eiffel Tower, which was lit in Israeli colours following the October 7th attacks. However, he was also falsely linked with an account on the video sharing app Rave, which posted decapitation images and comments expressing a desire to join a terror group and kill LGBTQ+ people. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin says the restrictions are in place to prevent very dangerous people from attacking the games. He claims minorities aren't being singled out and that people suspected of left or right-wing extremism are under surveillance too. Military parades have taken place in Croatia to mark the 29th anniversary of the last major battle of the Croatian War of Independence. The 1995 Operation Storm Offensive was a decisive moment for Croatia and resulted in the recovery of territory from rebel Serb forces. The event is commemorated annually and this year saw speeches from Croatia's leaders, military displays and a flyover of fighter jets recently acquired from France. Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković hailed the anniversary as a celebration of freedom.
Mi smo se danas okupili da još jednom proslavimo slobodu, da se prisjetimo veličanstvene Oluje, neustrašivosti hrvatskih branitelja i svih onih koji su nam omogućili da živimo u neovisnoj i demokratskoj Hrvatskoj. O tome su generacije Hrvata sanjale, a danas je naša stvarnost i odgovornost.
But for Serbia, the anniversary is a somber reminder of what it considers a war crime that led to the mass exodus of most Serbs from Croatia. Each year, thousands of Serbs, including families of victims, gather to mark the anniversary with a remembrance ceremony.